from pick a number from 1 to 10, and then let me know how you're feeling today at the end of the day, and it's not Friday. What a question. Okay, so I'll just call on people. Helen, what's your number between 1 and 10?
8.
Ooh, wee. I'm going to skip myself then. Wendy, how about you? What's your number?
I'm an 8 too.
Uh-oh. Hey, Dave, how are you? What's your number?
I'm good. I'm a 5. I still got a long night. I got to go from here to a baseball game and have a project after that. So
Yes, I understand. Kay, good to see you. What's your number?
7.
Did you say 7?
Yes.
All right. So Donna, what's your number? 1 to 10. How are you feeling? You're muted.
7.
Okay. Renee, hello. What is your number?
Hello, I'm an 8.
All right. Letitia.
7.5.
Oh, see, you had to go with the decimal.
I had to. I'm on my way to 8.
Monique, by your other name, 1 to 10, what's your number?
My number is also 7.
Okay. Tanya Stansel, what's your number between 1 and 10?
Well, if you had asked me this morning, I probably would have said an 8. But right now, I'm tired, hot, and hungry, so I'm going to say a 6.
Okay. Monica, how about you? What's your number?
If you had asked me yesterday, I probably would have said a 5 because I had the worst toothache ever. But today we're looking at we can go about a 7.5, maybe an 8.
Okay, thank you. Lacey, how about you?
Seem to be a lot of 7s. I think I'm a 7 also, but I've got my coffee, so that might get me up to an 8 when I'm done.
Right. Yeah, this time. Oh, look at Kay Sanford. All right, we saw that. Vera, 1 to 10, what's your number?
I'll have to say a 9.5 because I've had a great day and my husband is preparing dinner for me right now. So what more could a woman want?
That's right. Tell him he's a 10.
Absolutely.
Ashley Bass Mitchell, what's your number? 1 to 10. How are you feeling?
I think I'm a 7.5.
Okay, thank you. And the last person that's here right now, Dwayne, between 1 and 10, what's your number?
Between 1 and 10, I'm going to go an 8 because I still have a long night ahead of me. My son's getting baseball lessons.
All right. Okay. Okay. So for me, I would say before I got on this call and saw all of you, my number was probably a 6, but now it has risen to a 9. Thank you. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for indulging me that little tidbit waiting for people to come in. All right. So welcome to Durham Joins Together to Save Lives. This is our quarterly meeting. And I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Let's see. And if anyone else has a PowerPoint, it's already set up for you to do that when you get to that point. Okay. So let me turn this off. Move that out of the way. Okay, so again, welcome. We're glad that you're here. I'm Wanda Boone, Dr. Wanda Boone, co-chair, and then Wendy Jacobs is co-chair of Durham Joins Together as well. And so that was the introduction. So first up, I'm really excited that we have a presentation or discussion about housing. Well, our topic is housing, but Jubilee Home is going to talk about their low barrier community-based model, plans for expansion and vision for the future. David Crispell, Executive Director, and Letitia Thomas, Director of Wellness Navigation. Please, the floor is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I do want to take a moment to start this with a centering practice. This is something that we often do before we start our staff meetings, resident groups, just tough moments. And I heard a lot of interesting numbers and a lot of different journeys as we find ourselves here today. So that was confirmation that this would be just take a moment, just about a minute, a little less than a minute, but I would like everyone to join me in taking about 5 deep cleansing breaths. And I'm going to try to see if I can offer us a little mood music to do that. Let me know if it sounds absolutely horrible because it's coming through a phone to your computer. Can you hear it? No? How about now? Not yet? Well, where's the microphone at on this thing? So set your own mood music, but I have mine. The best that you can to cut out any other noises around you. And again, just take a moment. If you need to, cut off your screen, not to be too distracted, but take 5 cleansing breaths and then come back and join us. All right. If you still need a little bit more time, feel free to take it. I want to respect everyone's time here this evening, so we're going to go on. Thank you again for having us. My name is Leticia Thomas, and I am the Director of Wellness Navigation here at Jubilee Home, where we work very hard to collaborate with justice-involved individuals to foster belonging, promote healing, build wellness into our community through quality, low barrier, and supportive housing. So here in this space, we are striving to do our best to create an environment that is responsive to our vision by being very intentional about making sure our housing is low barrier, uses a community-based model, trauma-informed in our space and our approach as well, and then also responsive to the unique needs of justice-involved individuals. We serve residents who are impacted by the legal judicial system, anywhere from prison release, jail release, and on probation. There's no discrimination based on those charges, whatever they might be at their encounter at some point in time. However, at this time, we are not able to serve registered sex offenders. That's just a note that we have to always make for awareness. Okay. We do support residents who have a history of substance use, especially those that are engaged with medicated assisted treatment or some other form of medication to support opioid use disorders or other disorders as well. We also support persons with a variety of mental illness, including severe mental illness, persons that may have to, whose treatment may include antipsychotic medication, mood stabilizing antidepressants as well. We also serve residents that are unemployed, underemployed, or just not ready for employment, which means we also do not have finances as a barrier to our housing. As we do have fees for services that is based on your income. And if at the time of your residency, you are not employed, or excuse me, you do not have an income, that's going to reflect those fees of services as well. And then in this space, we welcome males between 17 and 99. I will say, however, we do have stairs that will lead you to our bedroom. So if there's going to be some mobility issues, we make sure that our residents that are considering us as a place to stay know that as well. We receive residents through self-referral. They found some information about us someplace, somewhere, somehow. We're also proud to say that we receive referrals for residents hear about us from word of mouth, from former residents, current residents, and community members. We also receive referrals through probation officers, facility caseworkers, and also our wonderful local reentry council and other organizations as well. Excuse me. So our new residents are welcome to Jubilee Home by their peer navigator Monday through Sunday, because sometimes you just don't know when a person's going to be returning home. We work very hard to make sure that there's someone here in this space on site and available to greet them. Let's see. We work very hard to make sure they're extended a very warm welcome. We have a 2-week intake process that includes a tour of our property and our community, demographic documentation, along with other documents to help us learn more about their personal preference, who they are as an individual. We make very intentional time to slow down and review our house guidelines, which we always like to highlight, contribute to a therapeutic environment. So often people are given expectations when they walk into a space, but we make sure that it's clear that these expectations or guidelines are ones that we have to contribute to a healthy, safe, and therapeutic environment. We also make sure that we take the time to share with our residents what our Life Skills Initiative is, which is basically a foundational framework that utilizes an incentive-based approach to encourage and support change and growth. We also complete during that time a strengths and needs-based assessment, which is done through a couple of different documents. And we also support our residents with creating an individual living plan that utilizes the 8 dimensions of wellness with special attention to some areas that create goals for the unique needs of justice-involved individuals. That includes things like getting your personal documents, your ID, and substance use and mental health as well. And we also take this time during this initial 2-week period to begin completing referral process to other community resources like Welcome Home, our local reentry council, Carolina Outreach, Samaritan Health, our Lincoln Health Community Center, Step Up Durham, NC Works, and that's just to name a few. And we also make sure that we welcome our residents to this space with a basket that's filled with some of the basic needs that they'll find when they come here as a new resident, including fresh and clean linen for their bed, as well as a pillow, bath linen, hygiene products, laundry soap, and a journal, so they can begin to document their journey as well as reflect. That's a really important part that I'm always proud of. I'm quick to ask someone, did you grab and use your journal recently? So after that initial 2-week intake period, our residents continue their pursuit of a whole person wellness, healing, building community, addressing their barriers, and building life skills alongside our certified peer support staff with special attention and support from a peer navigator who is constantly and continuously championing them on their goals. Our peer support staff and our peer navigators are a very important part of our model and the work that we do here. And we think it's very important, and we value the professional support and guidance that they provide, as well as the genuine relationship and the knowledge and awareness that they've personally grown through their lived experience, which we all also support as an organization through continued education and weekly staff training that also includes some time to reflect and also some time to rest. This can be some very tough and heavy work, walking alongside individuals seeking change and growth. And so we also make sure that we build in some time and some wellness for our residents for our staff that are supporting the residents that choose to live here on that journey as well. So the residents that choose to make Jubilee Home their place to grow and evolve and change also have access to other programming and supports throughout the week. That includes a Tuesday night dinner where they make time to share a meal together, reflect on what's happened since the last time they've met together, also dream about what might be happening next. There's also an opportunity and time there to have open communication with each other, all living together in the house, facilitated by our peer support staff. And of course, that can be anything from problem solving, some things going on in the house, or just bringing awareness, but always, of course, with the intention of doing that collectively. Our Tuesday night dinners often include our extended community, which could be anything from student groups that we've worked with, like our Duke peers, to we also have support from different community churches and individuals in our community, as well as we always say proudly, residents who no longer live here, but ultimately have become family. And it's also a time for our residents to enjoy fresh food and food cooked with the beautiful herbs from our community garden, which you can see right outside of our kitchen window. On Thursday nights, we have a life skills building group. Our residents come together guided by group norms and values that they've created together. As we welcome new residents and other residents transition, all of our residents can stay at Jubilee Home at this time up to 1 year. We're always making sure that those group norms and values are updated as new people join us. And those Thursday nights have a variety of topics and activities that include healthy relationships. We've had some series of ecotherapy as well as other nature therapy, healthy finances through learning more about financial literacy. They also have moments and times to rest as well, meditation, other tools to reduce stress. This is funny to follow that, but a little bit of go-kart riding too, which might be a little bit on the other side of the stress. And then also moments to reflect on physical health and other like high-risk factors that they might experience with the unique needs and barriers that they experience. A majority of these groups, I think, is important to highlight, excuse me, are offered by partners that are both individuals and organizations who share the beliefs and values about collective community and the dignity and worth of those that we serve. We're very, very proud that week after week, we have persons in our community that are willing to join us and do this work. Excuse me 1 second. And then on Sundays, we host an on-site NA meeting for our residents in recovery. That's led by one of our peer support staff. And on occasion, it's led by our residents. On occasion, they can tend to be shy sometimes when it comes to those things, but they have beautifully stepped up as needed and when needed to lead that group. And they're always capable of it as well, even if they choose not to. If you're not sure, come in and try to ask them to do something different during that group, they'll let you know. Anyways, it's open to the broader Durham community and also listed as an official group with the listings of NA groups as well. And the goal and purpose of that group is to reduce barriers to access by making sure that that NA group is available in the comfort of our cozy living room. That is a quick little rundown synopsis of who we are and what we do. Excuse me, providing a quick run through in bare bones. If you have any questions or anything that you would like me to expand on, please let me know. We're very intentional about showing up to do this work professionally, but also with heart and warmth. We genuinely value and encourage residents to take the time in this space, if they choose to live here, to address any barriers and challenges that might impact them from living independently following their impact of the legal justice system. I'm going to take that as my cue to pause and clear my throat and drink some more water.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your program and everything that you shared with us. We have about 2 minutes. If anybody has any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to go ahead and do so.
And Wanda, could we take down the slide so we can go back to the full group?
Does anyone have any questions that you'd like to ask? Anything you'd like to share? Go ahead, if that's your hand up, Wendy.
I just muted myself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing the overview of, the amazing work that you are doing. I wondered if you could, the event that you all are having next week, I'm wondering, is that something that is open to the community and whether that might be an opportunity for people to also learn more?
Yeah, that's a great question. And probably a great segue to pass it off to David.
I'm almost done.
Oh, sorry.
No, Brian. Oh, sorry. Let me just.
That has a little bit more information about that group. I'm sorry, that group, but that event next week, as well as what's coming up next for us.
Yeah, so Wendy alluded to, we're having an open house on Friday the 31st. And we'll have a panel discussion there as well. It'll be at 11 a.m. at the W.G. Pearson Center, and then people are welcome to walk up the hill with hosts, and we'll have all of our properties open. A number of you have been invited directly, but if anyone else is interested in coming by, just shoot me or Leticia a note in this meeting so that we know to put you on the food count. That's really the only, that space is not a problem. We just want to make sure we have enough food. But yeah, there will be more. And one of Lacey asked us to tell sort of our like what we do and then where we're headed. I realize the time is short, but some of the things we're headed towards, we just purchased a transitional property for women. Right now we're working on the trauma-informed design of that space to make sure that it's really geared towards a therapeutic environment, built environments before we move folk in there. But we're excited. We're hoping that will be on board this fall. And then we are pushing more and more into permanent housing. We realize so many of our people can spend a year at Jubilee Home and do great and gather so many tools and leave sort of ready for independence, and then just not find any low barrier housing or background friendly housing in Durham. I mean, housing is hard for everyone in Durham right now, right? That's not news to anyone, but Jubilee Home is recognizing the need for us to maybe move towards more permanent housing options for folks. As a landlord that doesn't mind. Brian, who's going to speak in a little bit, is coming from our permanent housing that we offer now, two doors down from me and 2 doors down from Leticia on the other side. So we're kind of having a Zoom neighborhood meeting right now. So those are the spaces we're moving towards now, as we sort of try to anticipate the needs of our community and have received feedback that's been a real struggle for permanent housing. So that's where we're working. And Lacey, I see that your little yellow hand is up, so I think your hand is up.
Yeah, just well, first I just want to say, like, Jubilee Home is one of the few housing options that is truly low barrier. They allow people to be on methadone and buprenorphine, and they work with people that have relapses rather than just kicking them out like some groups do. So I'm really happy to hear that you're opening a women's housing option, because obviously there more men than women are overdosing, but there really is a lack of housing for women with substance use. But my question is, will the housing option allow children and or pregnant women? Because that's a population that does not have a lot of options at all.
Right. So we will not allow children. If you come on Friday, the space will dictate that. You'll see. We will be open to pregnant women. We've begun discussions about how we would sort of do that policy wise, so that we could be clear about how we manage that from an organizational standpoint. We've been working with a new organization that does not sort of doesn't function yet, but they exist. This is Our House, who's really interested in women and children housing. And so we've been working to support them as they get going, and they just got their 501c3 a few months ago and are raising money to sort of enter into housing in that exact space. That's exactly what they're interested in, and so we've been supporting them in that while
What's the
recognizing
name of,
this
I missed
is
that.
this is Our House.
Our House. That's exciting.
Yeah, and they've been founded by someone with lived experience who had to raise her children while working through her own substance use disorder, and is sober like 30 some years now, and just a phenomenal person with a ton of experience in these spaces. And so it's been great to work with them. We will be glad to sort of show them off when when they are ready for that, because they've been a great partner, and fun to work with. So, but no, we we are afraid that what we do well, we really help a person focus on their wellness, and we want to continue to do what we do well, male or female, or even male or female identifying folks. And so we determined that knowing that some women may move through our space quickly because they want to get their kids and can't have them in our space, we recognize that will be part of the equation. But we want to be able to have them come and spend some time where they can focus on them, hopefully in a attempt to be more prepared to receive their children when that's an opportunity that they have.
Go ahead, Kay.
Wonderful. I think I heard this correctly, but I want to make sure that Jubilee House, is willing, and unlike many, to accept, folks who with substance use disorders and this kind of thing. But you cannot deal with people who are physically disabled. So if someone is in a wheelchair, or someone cannot go upstairs to your housing, your sleeping facilities, did I hear you correctly to say that you cannot do that?
Yeah, you're correct. Our transitional facility was built in 1944, and it's I don't know, 6 or 8 steps even to the front door. And so we have been looking more broadly as we've looked for permanent housing, for more accessible housing. Our duplex, Brian can attest to, would be much easier to adapt to disabilities, but our transitional home right now is not ADA compliant.
Okay, just what, so, you've obviously, smarter than I am and 15 steps ahead of me. But if you are not ADA compliant, whereas many of the housing agencies are not ADA compliant because they will not accept people who have substance use disorders and are on medication. Whereas, this is a situation where, it's a much more traditional, I live in a 1-story house because I don't do stairs. But what are the potential barriers that you as an organization might be facing because you are not ADA compliant? And my concern is that those organizations who are not ADA compliant may, at some point down the road, face all kinds of lawsuits and detrimental encounters, which could put you in a situation where every wonderful thing that you do would be disallowed, or there would be fines or something. So, is there some way in which you can function outside of ADA compliance and possibly be working toward that, so that horrible situation never evolves?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are interested in being ADA compliant, but the housing for everyone, right, is the upfront cost of infrastructure, and so we haven't had the luxury. Beggars can't be choosers, basically. And so, yeah, there is potential that could cause us problems, but frankly, as someone pretty involved in the reentry community in Durham and aware of all the other reentry housing in Durham, if somebody came after our spaces for ADA compliance, Durham would have a problem on their hand just with managing a suddenly homeless population. So that's not a comfort, right? Like we would love to be as accessible as we can be. We have worked really hard to lower our barriers, but that is one barrier that we have not managed to lower yet. There's an opportunity. We are hoping to move our offices outside of our house, but because we're learning that like bound. House be a house and not an office and a house. And so we do have some downstairs bedrooms that are currently offices, but we'd have to have an office before we could turn those into accessible bedrooms.
Well, I hear you, and I truly understand the challenges that your organization faces, just because providing for all contingencies is really, really challenging, and in many cases, may not be, a viable option at the moment. But what I hear you saying is very positive, a recognition that, there are still areas that will reduce the barriers even lower than what most homes are offering. And, this is quite wonderful. But, I am truly concerned that, particularly with Disabilities Rights North Carolina, that this is an organization that is working very actively with men and women who have been involved in the criminal legal system and are struggling in the reentry process because there are so many barriers. And most of the time, I'm afraid organizations will be looking for low-hanging fruit. And if you cannot provide services to someone who's in a wheelchair or on crutches or just can't do stairs for whatever reason, that this could lead to a situation where you are forced to divert your very positive activities into dealing with something that could be very time consuming, and in the end might work out well. So all right, so you have to move your offices to some other place, and that would be a wonderful resolution, which of course won't happen in the next 2 weeks. But one of the concerns that I've had in Durham County and many other locations within the state is there are so many facilities that are not ADA compliant. And this is a remarkable situation where with the one area where you are far more accommodating to those with disabilities, those having substance use disorders, that's usually the situation where organizations are not ADA compliant. Whereas you've been able to move well beyond that in the most positive way. I'm just concerned that this may end up being something that keeps you from doing what you do and do so much better than so many places. That I just hope you will take that under advisement and keep working on it.
Thank you, Kay. We really appreciate that comment, and I'm sure that David has heard that as well. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Before we go on, there is a question in the chat. Where is it? Oh, is there an aftercare component to Jubilee Home for ongoing support after participants move on? And David is actually trying to do something outside on a baseball field, so I'm not sure that he's available, but I can send that question if you don't mind. I can send that question to him offline so that we can.
I was just going to say thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. All right. So next we have information on emergency room visits, overdoses in Durham. And from the last time I presented this information, the needle has moved slightly in terms of overdoses among Black African Americans in Durham. It had been over 60%, and now it looks like it might be around 58%. So from 62% to 58%. The Hispanic overdoses in previous presentations, and in fact, for the first time, this is where the Hispanic overdoses have not been negligible, so that there were too few to be in this report, but now we see maybe 1 or 2%. So that's something to take a look at. Under 25 has gone up a little bit, 25 to 34, which was really the highest number that we have seen. Still seems to be the same with 35 to 44-year-olds edging up. So we're continuing to work in that space. And so that's what we have in terms of that. We're doing a lot of work in terms of alcohol and opioids used together in the Black African American community, which seems to be the influencer of that process, according to the presentations that I and you have received from the North Carolina Injury Prevention Branch. And then, I just also wanted to say that we have created a opioid abatement community guide, which we are training health ambassadors, community health workers on, and community members on, so that they'll be able to share information not only on opioids and overdose, but other substances, and of course, ACEs and trauma, and those subjects that you hear me talk about often. So that's all that I will mention in terms of prevention tonight. And then we will have a discussion with Brian Harris, who will talk to us about recovery and prevention and our working together. So Brian, I see that you're very busy at home with your sweet daughter. And so I need you to unmute if you can.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you? How are you? And
I'm doing well.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you so much for presenting and being a part of our conversation at the rescue mission, where, you know, lots of individuals were able to talk about recovery and prevention, but we want to hear from you tonight. What are your thoughts?
Okay. All right. I came to Durham in 2019, seeking a better way of living, a life. Went through a program called Trojan. In these 5 years I've been in recovery, I've been a part of a lot of recovery. I've seen a lot of the experience, strength, hope through other people who are similar to me, and recovery here in Durham, there is very powerful. And I've been a part of the Troja, reentry, STAR, drug court, Oxford House, NAAA, you name it. I've been in it. I've been the service to anywhere and everywhere. But the thing about it, when I got introduced to with T.R.Y, is it hit hard because it was a truth that I hadn't dealt with. I kept hearing it in the rooms of say IOP, the science part of recovery is every time something happened throughout your life in early childhood, it was a time that you stop growing that part and you grow another. So as I put it on paper, I realized that there was a lot of me there. You know what I mean? Growing up here, there, trauma, grief, here, there. So a lot of parts of me never got a chance to grow. So when you introduce with T.R.Y and the point systems, and it really hit, and it made that puzzle come together. And then I've had a chance to get my daughter. I got custody of my daughter through recovery, and that was a giant David and Goliath story there. They said that a dad in recovery with a background like mine would never, if it had been my son, different. But since it was my little girl, and that's where Dave from Jubilee comes in play with me. I've met Dave several times throughout Durham. Never had to introduce the conversation, but he opened a door for me that would not open. Would not open. I've tried to do a daddy and me home here in Durham. I learned that idea from the World Convention through Oxford House, that the other states have started daddy and me home. But for some reason, North Carolina would not. But if it had been my little sons, they would have been on board. But since it was a little girl, yes. And I understood that, and I accepted that. And I said, okay, what to do now? And I stayed very spiritual. And this is a transformation in a recovery aspect that is constant. It's not, okay, I'm comfortable today. Will I be comfortable tomorrow? No, of course not. You know what I mean? Because that's just not the way it works. But I know this. I know that Durham is getting more connected. When I came, it was COVID. So it was recovery and COVID. So it's like a big secret. It's already a big secret sometimes when somebody with addiction and grief and trauma, they don't want to come out. They don't want to talk about it. That's why I embrace the recovery out loud. Don't be ashamed. That's why I tell anybody, hey, you want to know? I'm there. I've done it. But here's what I've done since then, and it's a blessing. I see it. So I went back to school. I took all my credits and I've gone back to school, and I said, okay, Brian, where can I be most effective now with my child? And that is, the spiritual part lines it up perfectly, because now I get to see where it affected me. Where did it all start with me as a child? That's why I'm so, when I come around you, Miss Boone, you put that puzzle together for me. I kept hearing, you see what I'm saying? That's why anybody I cahoots with, anybody that I cahoot, I tell them, please start there. Don't try. Yeah, fix. You can fix. I can fix today, but when I go start to fix yesterday, you got to have these tools, because if not, then you got all these. Yeah. So I'm going to. I took my credits that I've got along my other journey, and I put them to. And I'm going to help kids. I'm going to help. I'm going into psychology, and I want to go into minor in criminal justice, so that'll open the door to allow me to go in and be a full service. Where can I be a full service? It ain't about the money. I work with Durham County. I got a good job. I got good benefits. It's not the money, but it's where I can be a best service. because it's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The stigma with me was to say, I gotta be like this for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do this. I got to continue to break the law. I got to continue to do this and that and that. And all this is mounting on me. But you don't. Because if someone is there to say, okay, I'm like you, we're not similar, we ain't go down this right path, but here's what I've done. But I am very grateful and thankful of all of the opportunities that I've been given in these 5 years. And keep up what you're doing. Dave in Jubilee, man, I asked him the other day, I said, we were out there, I was watching his kids play baseball, and I said, well, what got your feet here today? And I heard a story about the CA deal, but I didn't know it was him. So he started telling me, and I was like, wow, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that I get a chance to meet are doing some very powerful things here in Durham, and hey, kudos, man. And
thank you.
Couple more years, you know what I mean? Hey, yeah.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. And I know that you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're trying to do your laundry. I'm like, wow. And you're on this Zoom. So thank you. There is in the chat, let's see, I saw one. Oh, Monica says, so proud of you, Brian. And we're proud of you too. Does anyone else have anything to say to Brian before we let him go? But thank you so much. We appreciate it. Oh, Wendy, go ahead, Wendy.
Yeah, Brian, well, I was already impressed with you when you were multitasking and doing your laundry and taking care of your daughter at the same time. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's really powerful. And I just I think you have so much to give to our community, and especially around the stigma and the importance of all of us being able to talk about this issue. And so I'm really grateful to you. You're incredibly inspiring, and I hope you will keep going with what you're doing, and that more and more people can hear your story. Thank you so much.
And
you're welcome. And you're welcome.
Congratulations.
Yes, and it's the most powerful thing to do away and let another person know that they can be understood is the shame and the guilt of who they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And once that community.
Uh-oh. You just, we lost you. Okay. Thank you again. All right. So yes, we're really happy with all of the individuals who are in recovery that are a part of our prevention efforts. Okay, Wendy, do you want to take this in terms of introductions?
Sure. So I would love to introduce Carolyn Renee Shaw, who is with our Durham County Justice Services Department, and she does so many things that she does for our community. She actually leads our mental health court, and she is also the leader of our Stepping Up initiative. And I don't even know. You'll have to even share. There are more things that you do that I don't even know about. And the bottom line is that all of these initiatives don't happen without people like Renee. They just don't. It takes her pulling people together and moving things along. And so she's really been leading our updating our sequential intercept map and model. And I'm just going to turn it over directly to her so she can explain what the Stepping Up Initiative is. Durham County is a innovator county. Nationally, we are one of the leading counties following the Stepping Up Initiative to reduce people with mental illness, to prevent them from being in our jail. That is the goal of the Stepping Up Initiative. And so I'm just going to turn over to her to really talk about that and what the model is all about, which is an evidence-based practice.
If you're speaking,
I'm so sorry. Can you see
Yes.
my screen?
Yes, could you put it
Okay.
on slide presentation? It's on, the down at the bottom. It looks like yeah, almost down, 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 down. See the thing that looks like a screen? Keep to the left, nope, you missed it.
Right here?
Nope, next over. There you go, that one. Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody ready?
Oh, yes.
So I am, like Wendy said, I am Renee Shaw. I am the Mental Health Substance Use Program Manager for the Durham County Justice Services Department. I oversee the mental health court, and I also oversee the substance use program for the Justice Services Department. And as Wendy said, I am the chairperson for the Stepping Up Initiative. And Wendy explained to you that the Stepping Up Initiative is a national initiative to reduce the individuals with mental illness in the jail. One of the things with the Stepping Up Initiative, we are an innovator county. And you ask, what is an innovator county? An innovator county, we're one of 48 counties nationally that can say that we have a shared definitions for mental illness in Durham County. Everyone in the Durham County jail is screened using the brief jail mental health screen, and we track and analyze our data. So one of the things that we done as a committee is the sequential intercept model. And the sequential intercept model looks at the resources and gaps in the county and come up with a plan to address the gaps in services or missing resources. So in 2019, the committee came together, and once they came together, we listed all the resources and services that we had in Durham County for individuals who are in the justice service. We wanted to see how the person enters into the justice system, the resources they have or the services that they have once they get into the system. So in 2019, this is the intercept map that we came up with. And the intercept map has, it says it's 6 intercepts. The first one, as you will see, hospital, crisis, respite, peer, and community support services. The first one is law enforcement and emergency service, with the second one being initial detention and initial court hearings, and the third being jails and courts, the fourth being reentry, and 5 being community corrections and community supports. So this is what we came up with in 2019, all the resources and services. So in 2019, just as Brian had just mentioned, COVID happened. So once COVID happened, we addressed a couple of priority areas for 2019. The first one was community education. We felt as though individuals in Durham County wasn't aware that there are services and supports for individuals with mental health. The second priority area was access housing. We wanted to increase accessibility for people with mental health issues. And we wanted to collaborate with all of the housing initiative to make sure, we want to make sure that we had every resource, every service that we could to help individuals access housing. We also wanted to address the length of stay within the Durham County jails for individuals with mental health and substance use. And then we wanted to help identify services for mental health court participants. Because one of the things we would say, we were getting people into mental health court, but the issue was a lot of the clients were going on wait lists, or they would finish the program before they even came up on the wait list. So that was one of the things that we wanted to do. So in 2022, again, these are the services and supports that we saw once we updated everything from each intercept, from all 6 of the intercepts. We went through each one and updated it from 2019. And what we recognized, a lot of programs and services or resources had went away as a result of COVID. So we discussed updating it, and this is what we updated it with. And so the priority areas in 2022 was the access to services, housing, and peer support services at this time. And the achievements that we had from the 2022 was that we were able to develop a contract for forensic community support team that would address those individuals who are in the justice system, who would go on the wait list or who would not get the services that they need. There were services available to them, but they weren't the most appropriate level of care based on what they needed. We developed a brochure to educate the community, and we've passed some of those out, left some at the library, given some to some of the CIT trained officers. Those are some of the, we want to try to get out as many brochures as possible, but that's what we've done so far. We also come up with a familiar neighbor pilot, and this is a pilot that's between Durham County and the city of Durham. The Justice Services Department has a clinician and a case manager that work with heart staff clinician to address those individuals who we say are familiar to the community, familiar to the police, familiar to the jail. So we developed a pilot to address those things. And what we're trying to do is work with those individuals to get to know them. Sometimes it's difficult for individuals to become engaged in service, or they'll become so familiar with like the jail, the emergency department. And those are the things where they frequent often. But what we would do, we come up with was the familiar neighbor pilot to address those. We want to get to know those people, help them to get the resources, help them to get connected to the service, whatever it may be that they need. We want to help them get connected to those. And for our housing, one of the things we did was join the local reentry council housing subcommittee. We had said that there are a lot of housing committees out here, and instead of recreating the wheel, let's join our forces together with other programs or other subcommittees. And so we joined the local reentry council to address the housing needs for individuals in the justice system. Another area achievement, we research programs and providers to see who has peer support service, what those peer support services, how long they will last, what the peer support offer, do they have finances attached to them, can they help with employment, can they help with housing. So that's one of the things that we address with the peer support subcommittee. So 2024, here we are, and we decided as committee that we needed to update the 2022 sequential intercept map. And here are some of the programs that we came up with. This plan has not been finalized yet. We're still working on this. We're going to come together next month to address, do we have everything? Is there anything missing? Things change so quickly and often that we want to make sure that we have identify all the services, resources, agencies that we can that will address working with individuals in the justice system. So this is the intercept model. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my presentation so that everybody can look at what we've identified as the service through each intercept. And if you have any questions, any concerns, or you think we missed something, if you would contact me, we can update and add this into the intercept model. Okay, any questions? And what I've done at the end of this presentation is put the acronyms that we use, because there are a lot of acronyms and some agencies use the exact same acronyms for different things. So what I did was put all the acronyms at the end of this presentation so that if you wanted to know what an agency was, a resource, you have the acronyms at the bottom. Okay.
Thank you so much, Renee. And I just also was going to ask if you could send to Donna the mental health resource list that the Stepping Up initiative created, because everyone on here could help get that out to the community. Sometimes, we realize that just basic resource lists are important for us to have. Go ahead, Wanda.
Yeah, I have. Oh, go ahead, Renee. Were you going to?
If it's possible, I can drop off some brochures. I still have a few left that I can drop off to Donna if that's possible.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, you can drop them off.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I have one quick question, and that is when I was looking at the resources that you've listed, do you have resources that are in the community, like community programs such as mine, for example, that could be of some benefit? And I could talk to you more about that offline, but I didn't see very many community programs.
We do have some community programs, and I want to say one of yours was one of the first ones listed. If not, we can definitely put yours in there.
Well, I'd be happy to. I didn't know my name was on the list, so just let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely will.
All right, and I think we're down to our final two presentations, Wendy.
Yes, and we now, and thank you so much, Renee, for everything that you do. And I'm very happy to also introduce some other awesome Durham County staff. We have Lindsay Bickers-Bach with us. Lindsay, are you here? I don't know if Lindsay is here, actually. Maybe she's not.
Hey, Commissioner Jacobs, this is Dennis Hamlet.
Oh, Dennis. Okay,
yeah.
Dennis.
Yeah, I'm waiting
Dennis,
for Lindsay now. Yeah, she's on her way to come from her presentation on the second floor. She should be here very shortly.
Okay, awesome. And so Lindsay is our Director of Health Education and Community Transformation, and Dennis Hamlet, who is our Public Health Education Program Manager, also with the Durham County Department of Public Health. And they are going to share with us a brand new initiative that they have launched with other staff that is being funded by Durham County's opioid settlement dollars, and that is our new harm reduction program. So I don't know if you want to get started, and then when Lindsay gets here, she can join in, or if you want to give us any introduction, Dennis. Or do you want to wait until she's here?
Yeah, let me give her a couple of minutes that she's going to provide a preface to our presentation.
Okay, I'll just add one thing about one thing I do want to add about the sequential intercept map is that it would really be great if we could get it out to everyone, because you can see how there's no way you can look at it on a screen. But what it's trying to do is start mapping our whole crisis system. And the idea is to try to intervene and get people help at zero, at the very beginning of when somebody is in crisis, whether it's a mental health crisis or substance use or both. And that the further you go down the intercept map, the closer and the more interaction you end up having with our justice system. And that's what we want to really try to prevent, because unfortunately, in our country and in our society, we see that, you know, Durham County Detention Center, we now have over 40% of the people in our detention center have severe mental illness. And it is a terrible travesty that people have to go and end up in our detention center to get help. That's not the way it should work. And to Wanda's point, they should be able to get help in the community from resources that we have in the community. So the goal is, how can we really focus on that intercept zero, what is happening, and make sure that we are keeping people out of our justice system, our emergency departments, our homeless shelters. I think I see somebody connecting by phone. Maybe that's Lindsay who's joining us.
Oh. If not, I'll be happy to start, and I can give my section of the presentation. I'll be happy to do that.
That would be great, since we only have about 20 minutes left in our meeting tonight.
Absolutely.
We'll take it away, Dennis.
Okay. Okay. I see the option for me to share the screen.
Yes, that'd be great.
Super. I get a thumbs up if you all can see my screen. So,
just went away.
Okay.
We can see it.
Awesome.
But can you put it on presentation mode?
I am, yes. I'm working with two monitors. I'm just getting the appropriate
wow.
presentation for y'all. I'm improvising right now. All right, super. Good evening, folks. My name is Dennis Hamlet. I serve as the Communicable Disease and Maternal and Child Health Program Manager here at Durham County Department of Public Health. Some of the programs that I oversee and manage is our Maternal and Child Health Program, our Community HIV and STI Testing Program, as well as some of the opioid response work we do within health education. I'm going to skim to my section of the presentation as I come to you all with the status update in reference to our public health education specialists who will specialize in harm reduction work here at Public Health. Some of the key responsibilities will essentially will be overseeing our internal and external opioid response work. So essentially, the individual in this position will coordinate harm reduction activities on behalf of the Durham County Department of Public Health, including running the department's Safer Syringe program, stocking the naloxone vending machines across Durham County, and being the point of contact for naloxone education and distribution requests from community partners. In terms of hiring, we are elated to announce we received 89 applications for this position. And Lindsay and I have advanced 15 candidates to the first stage of the interview process. So we're currently conducting first round of interviews for our applicants. And we're really excited to have someone come on board to lead our harm reduction efforts here in health education. I'm going to provide just some quick number updates in terms of our pharmacies, naloxone and safer syringe program work. I have 2 slides for our naloxone efforts, as Durham County offers 2 options for community residents to receive naloxone. So this fiscal year, we currently have provided 655 naloxone kits to community members. And as you can see, it looks like we're pretty down compared to last year. But I want you all to keep in mind that the fiscal year ends June 30th. So we have about a month and a half to go in terms of numbers. And we're confident and we believe actually that the strategic placement of our Narcan vending machine, which is at the exit of our Health and Human Services building, has proven effective, as participants no longer have to go to the pharmacy to receive Narcan. So we truly believe that the vending machine is doing its job, as community members can go directly to the machine as opposed to going to our pharmacy for Narcan kits. So as of date, we have distributed 655 kits throughout Durham County Pharmacy. I presented to this advisory board last year, and I provided an overview of the Narcan vending machine project. Since then, we've launched our second vending machine, which is located at the Durham County Health and Human Services facility. And our number 1 machine, well, the first machine we launched, was located at the Durham County Detention Center. We're pleased to announce they're both active and are doing well. As to date, we've distributed 600 kits, have been dispensed across both machines since the launch, and we're averaging about 40 kits per week are being dispensed through the machines across both machines. And just a quick reminder, the Durham County Detention Center machine was launched on September 12th, and we were able to launch the vending machine at our Health and Human Services facility on February the 2nd of 2024. We have about 288 kits remaining in our inventory for this fiscal year. And I definitely want to give a shout out and thanks to Helen Tripp with EMS, who's contributed to the success of the vending machine, as she's donated 200 kits. And we've also been able to use funds from CLC. So shout out to Lacey Schofield for supporting those efforts. And we've used a mix of county and opioid settlement funds to purchase additional kits. And so these are all the efforts that we've used to ensure that the machines stay stocked for our community members. So these are the most current numbers we have from our pharmacy safer syringe program. To date, we've distributed 677 kits. And it looks like from our projections that we are aligned with our fiscal year 23 number of kits that we plan to distribute. So the safer syringe program is doing well, and we have the hopes that our harm reduction health education specialists will help bolster and expand our safer syringe efforts across Durham County. And I believe Lindsay has joined the call. Lindsay, are you there, Lindsay?
I am. I apologize to everyone that we had to turn this upside down on Dennis and the rest of you all with this presentation. But thanks for letting me join at the very end, at the end of a celebration for our Bull City Strong COVID health literacy program that's been going on for the past 3 years. So we were celebrating, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to jump in here at the end.
Lindsay, I'll be happy to navigate the presentation. Just let me know when to go to the next slide.
Okay. Well, I think the main thing that we were kind of trying to offer is some context for the health promotion and harm reduction programming that Durham County has been offering. And so just going to kind of set some of that context and provide some framework of where we are going in the next fiscal year. And then you've kind of heard some of the details, and after that, we'll open it up for some questions. So Dennis, you're welcome to move on to the next slide. For folks who are regulars at this meeting, you know that this is all part of a continuum of work. So we're thinking about prevention. Obviously, the prevention and education team of Durham Joins Together is doing tons of that work, but we wanted to provide a little bit of context of what's happening at the Durham County Department of Public Health as well. You're very familiar with the community linkages to care program that's come out of this group. Then we wanted to focus most on harm reduction, but also finish up in the conversation about how we can coordinate this work within the county and also with all of you. So we'll move on to that first slide about prevention. The main thing that I wanted to highlight here is that, one, there's a lot of this work happening in the community, thanks to the Prevention and Education Committee here, but there are some specific ways that the county is thinking about this work outside of and as a part of our specific opioid response. So part of this work is actually preventing the initiation of substance use, delaying its early use, and really stopping the progression of use to problematic use by focusing on some of those protective factors. So thinking about preventing adverse childhood experiences. Durham County is one of the only health departments in the state where we actually have an adverse childhood experiences and resilience coordinator, and that person actually sits within the public health department. So that's one of the ways we're thinking about the start to finish response. That can include looking at things like increasing parental engagement and increasing the number of youth who have one positive person who's in their life who can help them deal with stressors, increase their skills, and decrease the likelihood of using substances. We also are doing work specifically in the health education division, providing educational campaigns, and in particular, supporting medication recovery. So on the next slide, we actually have a picture of some of the medication recovery work that we're doing in the community and within the health department. So Dennis, you're welcome to move forward. This work is happening both in partnership with our pharmacy, like the medication collection that's always available on site for anybody who comes to the Human Services building, but also out in the community. So our most recent example of this has been actually at the event that happened on April 27th, where we're at a church and allowing people to just drive up, drop off medications that are unused, because we know that one of the ways that people get exposed, especially youth, start taking medications that can lead to other substance use is by actually just searching around and seeing what's in their own family's medicine cabinet or a neighbor's or a grandparent's. So trying to make sure that extra medication, whatever it is, but especially pain medication that is no longer used, is recovered and disposed of properly. So those are some of the prevention strategies that are happening specifically in the public health department in partnership along with Dr. Boone and others who are doing this work in the community. So that's a prevention piece. I did put a slide which you can advance to, Dennis, just acknowledging that the community linkages to care program is the primary way that the Durham County Department of Public Health is thinking about recovery support. So we're not actually providing direct treatment. The Durham County Department of Public Health doesn't provide primary care for adults. So it hasn't made sense for us to be providing medication-assisted treatment for the general population. But the community linkages to care program is a way that people are able to access peer support as they navigate the process of recovery and treatment. There are other places within the county, like the detention center, where we're thinking about providing access to medication-assisted treatment. But for the general population, the community linkages to care program is the main place that we're providing recovery support services. And then the harm reduction strategies, which you've kind of already heard a little bit about, but are focused on two particular strategies named in the opioid settlement. One is naloxone distribution, and then the other is the safer syringe programs. And we've really used those two strategies as a framework for the Durham Harm Reduction Initiative that we proposed and has received funding just this year from the opioid settlement. So what I thought I'd do is just provide an overview of the pieces that are included in that. Like Dennis already mentioned, you've heard a little bit that we're using those funds to think about getting an initial purchase of naloxone kind of really soon, but this is the bigger picture of how we see this all fitting together. So there will be one full-time position a public health education specialist focused on harm reduction. We'll also have some contract staffing to allow individuals who have their own lived experience with substance use to do outreach into the community. We see that as a partnership and a link to other work that's already happening in the community with North Carolina Harm Reduction, connecting the dots between programs that other organizations, including Duke Health and NC Harm Reduction offer, but providing that opportunity for people with lived experience to be involved in the program. And then importantly, there's going to be funds for supplies. So some of that will be things like educational materials, things like, mileage for people to be able to be doing outreach, but also really importantly, the actual medical supplies themselves. So you've heard Dennis kind of counting in hundreds and tens in terms of the number of boxes of naloxone that we've been able to get from different sources. Most recently, when we were able to get a supply from the North Carolina State Department of Health and Human Services, they asked us how much we could use. And at that point, we were putting 90 boxes a week into the vending machine. And so we said, I don't know, could you give us 2 weeks? So, we got 200 boxes from them, but it was something that we were running through pretty quickly. And so we're really looking forward to being able to have some specific resources, being able to actually purchase supplies, things like naloxone, syringes, test strips. Those are things that often, to many people's great surprise, there will be funding for overdose prevention, and then it will say explicitly, except for purchasing naloxone or syringes or other medical supplies. So that's a particular area that we're especially excited about, being able to purchase harm reduction supplies directly. And then our plan is actually to purchase 2 additional vending machines and think more about how those vending machines could be placed into the community. We do have to do a contracting process to get those in place. So we have some time to think with you all and others about where they might go, but we are already thinking about the fact that we have things like the libraries as partners throughout the county, but also lots of local small businesses, places like barbershops, dance halls, other things that, people are in very specific areas where they're seeing substance use and seeing it in hours that extend beyond 9 to 5 or even the extended hours that a library might have until like 8 p.m. or something like that. So no decisions right now about where they'll go, but our plans are to actually be able to purchase them. And then we said actually have a sufficient quantity of naloxone to be able to put into the vending machines and hopefully be in a position eventually that we could actually put some other supplies into the vending machines. We want to feel like we're comfortable with them being in the right place and being stocked with naloxone first, but the detention center has already asked us, what do you think about wound care kits? There may be other opportunities to do things that are also other harm reduction supplies that could be put into those vending machines as well. So this is kind of like a year's idea of what we could be doing. Some of the things I'm actually not sure how much. Dennis already mentioned the position before I scrambled over here. I see some head nods. So you at least heard that is kind of where we're starting. And that's already underway. Some of the other things will take a little bit of the process of the fiscal year actually being in place so we can get some contracting in place. But this is kind of what we're envisioning with being able to really quite substantially increase the amount of resources that are going to harm reduction in Durham County through the Department of Public Health. So
thank you so much, Lindsay. I don't want to cut you off, but we have 3 minutes left in our meeting, and I want to give people a chance to ask you any questions. So maybe we could drop the presentation and let's see if anyone has any questions or comments. I see Helen.
Yes, hi, Lindsay. Great work y'all are doing, and I'm glad we were able to help you out with those Narcan kits at one point. You mentioned MOUD, MAT, and I just wanted to let you know that, you know, we're doing this in the field now. We are doing inductions after post overdose, and we are looking for opportunities to partner with others as well. So if or when you get to that point, please keep us in mind, because we're already doing this work and we'd love to work with you on that.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to mainly emphasize that, you know, other people in Durham County are doing this work, just not the Department of Public Health. So yes, absolutely, EMS, detention center, there are places where this work is happening, just not inside the Department of Public Health right now. So kudos to Helen and her crew, and also thanks for the invitation when the possibility might exist within public health.
Wanda?
Yes, hi, Lindsay. Hi, Dennis. It's good to see you both. I was wondering if the prevention efforts that you mentioned are funded through the funding that you're getting for the opioid settlement. That's one question.
Yeah, they are not. Currently, all the work that we are doing on the prevention side is just existing county dollars. So that does mean that we have public health education funding that's coming from the county, but we haven't at this point requested or, you know, had a specific proposal around expanded prevention and education efforts.
The other thing is that T.R.Y has some funding, and we've always talked about partnering. And so since we're already doing the work that you're talking about starting to do, then it would be a great time to partner with you on those efforts that we're already doing in schools and in the community and all over. So we'll get in touch. So
yeah. And absolutely, I know, Dr. Boone, you're already doing, you know, partnerships with the Durham ACEs and Resilience Task Force, and, you know, there's other places, but I think, yeah, always more opportunities to continue those collaborations. Your box is moving around on my screen, so I have to follow you.
Oh, yeah.
Tanya?
Yes, two quick questions. With the opioid settlement funding, have you guys first set up an advisory board yet? And which option are you guys going to be following, the option A or option B?
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to say more about that, Wendy. It's actually
we're pursuing option A, and we've already gone through a process where we've done a survey, we had a town hall, and I think the next steps were what is to first do the hiring, and then that the staff person will be carrying on the process after that. Then, you know, so that's the next step that we're at. Having the person in place who is going to oversee the next steps. Did I get that right, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, that's okay. And Helen just mentioned in the chat, there's an internal working group. Go ahead. Yeah, anything I forgot, please add.
No, I think at the county level is actually where the opioid settlement funds are being distributed. So there is a county level internal group that has, I think, met a couple times, and I think is going to probably pretty substantially ramp up as we have additional, like a opioid program manager and some of these programs in place to actually be able to coordinate. So yeah, you see Helen saying in the chat, like working on the next town hall, and I think some of these things will continue to emerge, and I think probably opportunities for good conversation with this group about where there's the opportunity to do more coordination. And I see
Wayne.
Yeah, ACM Brinson also offering. So I will turn it back to you, Commissioner Jacobs, to, you know, say how much you want to wrap things up or keep entertaining.
Well, I'll let Dwayne just quickly, since he's here and he's our assistant county manager over this, and then we'll have to wrap up. Dwayne.
We have a comment in the chat, sorry, about this. So Vera is wondering about budgeting for harm reduction supplies to include wound care. Well, I think you talked about this. Wound care for treating xylazine wounds with xylazine and experienced adulterant and drug supply and horrific and resulting dysphoria. Wounds. I think that Lindsay, you talked about looking into wound care kits and that kind of thing. Thank you, Vera. Okay. Dwayne.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to be very quickly here. We have established an internal work group. It's mainly of department heads that are helping get some quick wins. Long term, we're trying to establish a structure, an advisory board, like Ms. Palmer mentioned before she left. As of right now, we have an harm reduction budget, expanding that, community linkages of care. We're hiring the opioid settlement manager as we speak. That's an active recruitment. Also talking about the FTIR spectrometer. That's a very exciting development that we're working on, getting that into the field. And also the medical director at the detention center is also earmarked for some opioid funding. But I think on May 30th, I'm going before the commissioners at a work session and kind of presenting next year's working budget. We'll still have opportunities beyond that, but that'll be a good guiding document that I'm going to present. I think it's on the 30th to the board if you want to chime in to that as well.
And Dwayne, can you explain what the spectrometer is for everyone, which is something that was recommended out of the first community input?
Right. Yeah. So the FTIR spectrometer, it's a device that requires training. So not just anyone can use it, not anyone can test the substance, but we're looking to deploy that mobily. So we'd have to buy a vehicle, get this into the field, but it'd be very community based. And, people could bring a sample of the substance, not the entire substance, but bring a sample of the substance. And the trained technician could put it into the spectrometer and test it for fentanyl, xylazine, whatever's in the sample substance they bring, that the technician will be able to tell them what's in it. But it's only a sample, it's not given back, but that's an immediate way to save a great number of lives in that.
Thank you. I know we're really over time. Thank you so much, everyone. Did anyone have any announcements before we go? I just wanted to put something in the chat.
No,
Maybe we'll
No, I know Donna is really going to get upset, but no, I mean, I was a GCMS specialist in my past. That's all I was saying. Gas chromatography, mass spectrometry. Nope, no.
Oh my God. Wow.
That's another thing. What? Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't
Amazing.
have
Anyone, any of the partners who have any announcements or anything they want to share?
Hey, this is Ashley. I just wanted to share that on June 7th, there's going to be a shred-a-thon and a medication take back where you can dispose safely of medication and or confidential or documents that you just want to get rid of. It's going to be at the Senior Center on June 8th. There's a Pack 3 community block party event that's taking place. And June 11th and 12th, there's also a Child and Family Team meeting that's Child and Family Team training that's taking place as well.
Would you send those to Donna, Ashley, or me, or whomever you like, but so we can put them in the minutes out to everybody?
Will do.
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it'd be great to get that information and Renee's presentation, Dennis and Lindsay, your slides to Donna too. All right, well, Wanda, why don't you wrap it up?
Okay, I'll wrap it up. So good night. Have a wonderful
Dr. Boone.
day. We'll see you
Dr.
later.
Boone.
Thank you. Bye.
Wait, Donna is talking to you, Dr. Boone.
I was just saying that the next meeting is TBA.
Okay, thank you, Donna. The next meeting is TBA. Good night.
Thank you so much, everyone. Great meeting. Thank you.